Greetings! This is the Instrument Sidekick video for the page called Count to 4, but in your head. With all these different pages, with all the different books, with everything except percussion. So all the possible books except for percussion. So, flute, page 22. Clarinet, page 21. Saxophone, page 24. Trumpet, page 21. French horn, page 20. Trombone, page 26. And euphonium, page 21. All right. All in there. So, this page pertains to everybody, and the only thing different is what note that you're playing the page on. So everything else that I teach about it can work well. So, let's talk about this. Count to 4, but in your head. Okay, you're going to count to 4 in a very specific way in your head while doing things with your foot and while reading the music and while playing the instrument. So you have to play the instrument, think one and 2 and 3 and 4, and you're going to add ands in between while tapping your foot in exactly a specific way. All right, so first, this page, the main thing that we're learning is called eighth notes. Eighth notes. All right? You nicknamed them TTs when you were in general music class, but their actual name is not TTs. That's a nickname. Their real name is eighth notes. Okay? They're a black circle on a specific line or space telling you what pitch to play. They have stems sticking down from the left side or up from the right side if you're a low instrument. And all the stems are connected with one beam. We call that a beam. All right? So, circles are notes, okay? They mean to play the instrument. Every time you see a circle, you have to play the instrument. But the question is, for how long? How fast do you play the notes? Because it's not enough to just play the right pitch, and that many of those pitches. You've got to actually play them the right speed, all right? So, these eighth notes are to be played a very specific way, okay? So at the front, you'll have a treble clef or bass clef if you're a trombone or baritone. All right, a time signature. And then all across the staff, you'll see these vertical lines every once in a while. Those are called bar lines, dividing out the measures. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 measures here. The time signature tells us that we have to be counting to 4 every one of those measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, eighth notes are half a beat long, which means 2 of them make 1 beat. 2 of them. So you have to hit 2 for every beat. So if this is the beat, the reason why we nickname them TTs is then we get 2 per every one of these hits. TT, 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 TT. All right, so you're getting 2 notes every 1 beat. So, since you're counting to 4 and you're getting 2 per beat, add the word and every other note to help you keep track. 1 and counts for both the notes still in the first beat. 1 and. 2 and is for the next 2 notes. The 2 is when the beat happens, and is in between the beats. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? You need to be thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while you're tonguing the notes. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. While you are still keeping a beat. All right? Now, you're supposed to tap the ground to keep the beat. So we talked about that last page. You have to tap to keep the beat. Well, since there's 2 notes for every beat, that second one, when you're thinking the word and in your head, your foot will be like this with the heel on the ground and your foot will be up in the air. So every time you come down and you tap the ground, you think a number, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending where you are. And then whenever your foot is up, you're thinking and. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it looks like... there we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So why don't you try doing that with me? You're going to tap the ground, heel to the ground, sitting well on a chair, both feet are on the floor, one foot stays solidly on the ground, one foot is tapping with your toes and going up and down, keeping the beat, okay, the steady pulse. Now you cannot ever go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the mistake everyone makes all the time, all right? Is they tap the ground for all the times that they're tonguing a note. So they'll go tut, 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 and that doesn't work. You're keeping a beat, 4 beats per measure. If you tap the ground every time you're tonguing a note, you're going to get 8 beats in the measure, and there's only 4 beats in the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. To get those extra notes that eighth notes make, you do it when your foot is in the air, exactly halfway in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So do that with me. We're going to do it 4 times in a row. Here we go now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you have to be able to do that in your head. In your head. You need to be thinking that while you're still playing whatever note. Okay? So every instrument has a different pitch they're going to be practicing that on. Flutes are the 4th line up. So the 4th line's going through that note. And as we worked out on the last page, every good burger deserves. So that means we play a D. So on a D, flutes would play this page. There we go. Like this. And then you're done, okay? So when you get all the way to the end of the line, stop. And when you're playing it for me in the lesson, that's how I'm going to know that you got it. All right, then clarinets. Clarinets, you have the bottom line going through the center of the note. So you're playing an E for every. An E for every. So you guys okay, then saxophones, you guys also have a D, just like the flutes did, but it'll obviously sound different because you're a saxophone. So saxophones, now saxophones can tap either foot, but they usually prefer to tap the left foot for this exercise, because if you're tapping the right foot, you might move the saxophone while you're playing and mistakenly get some squeaks, okay? So the steadier you keep it, the better. So I get my D ready. Okay, that's the saxophone's version of that exercise. All right, then we have trumpets. Now trumpets are just like the clarinets. First line, so also an E. So trumpets, you have so that's the trumpet. French horns, pretty sure also have an, no, you guys have an F. Okay, so yours doesn't have a line going through it. There's a line above it and below it. So it's on a space, the lowest space, and the space is spelled F-A-C-E, so that must be an F. So you guys have to do that eighth note exercise with an F. Same issue as the saxophone. Since you're resting your French horn on your lap, you're probably down here. Okay, but since you're resting a French horn on your lap, probably better to do it with your left foot, if you can help it. No, I was right. All right, sorry. My mistake. I was correct. I should have known. Here we go. I go and do it again. Okay, so that's the French horn. All right, next, the trombones. You have a different clef and a different issue. So your bass clef, your note's a second line up and has a flat in front of it. Notice it only writes one flat. All the rest of the ones in the measure are still flat. It's a little rule, okay? It's a rule. Flats last one measure. Is that what it says? Flats last one measure. So then they write the flat again in the next measure, and the next measure, and the next measure. And since it's a second note, a second line up, great big. Dragons fly around. Great big. So it's a low B flat. Make sure you're not playing an F. Okay? Because remember, F and B flat are in the same place, but a different embouchure. So, B flat. Okay? And then, euphoniums, you have the same note. It should look exactly like what I held up a moment ago for a trombone. So also a B flat. Now, depending on where you rest it, I rest this completely on one lap and I hold it up even a little bit because, you know, I'm taller than you. So because I'm holding it up with my right lap, I'm going to be using my left foot. But whatever works for you. All right? So here is euphoniums. And then the euphonium's done. So, the whole time, you need to be thinking in your head, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you have to be thinking that while you follow across. Do realize that the music, they won't write the numbers there. The numbers are written to help you this first page with what to be thinking. But it's not going to be written in your actual music. All right? Now, the pitches. I told you what pitch you got to play. We figured out from last page how to read those. Never, ever, ever, ever write the name of the pitch next to the note. Never, ever, ever do that, okay? I've had people take things like this and write B flat under every note. B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, labeling all of them. And then, are they reading the eighth notes, or are they reading what they wrote the notes, the pitches are? You can't just read the pitches, because the whole point of this being on the staff is the shape tells you how fast to play it, and then what line or space the note's on tells you what pitch to play. You need to learn to read both pitch and rhythm. You can't just write the name of the pitch. If that was okay, then we'd keep doing the way we were doing it before, where we had all the names of the notes written down like that. That's yellow belt level, that's just pitches. Now we got to learn rhythm and pitches and how music is actually read. You've got to be reading the music, not writing down the pitches, okay? I will be checking that. I will make you hold your book up to the video so I can see that you haven't written it down, all right? And if you have written it down, I'm going to make your parents come pick up a new book, or I'll send them the PDF to print a new book at home, all right? And we're going to throw that out, okay? I want none of that. Never, ever, ever, ever write down the name of the pitch, okay? That is not cool. You're learning to read music, and it's only going to come if it's there, okay? That'd be like if you were in the grade you're in now, and you needed pictures to tell you what everything said in English class, okay? And I hope that's not the case. You know, if it says the cat walked in the garden, you don't need a picture of a cat walking in a garden to understand what that sentence meant, okay? And when you read it. Same thing's true now. You've got to get to the point where you don't need the pitch written down. You read the music. And that's going to be hard. You're going to have to sometimes look back. Let's say you look on and you forgot that was a B flat. It would be okay to look back and be like, Oh yeah, we wrote it down. That's a B flat. Okay. Okay, that's a B flat. That's fine. Looking it up is okay. You're more likely to remember if you look it up. Okay? Totally fine. If you're not sure, double check and look it up. But do not write it down because then you're never going to go through the memorization process. And let me tell you, I've been playing in professional bands for a long, long time. And you look over at professional band people, and they don't have all the pitches all written down for them. Okay? They don't take a piece of music that may have hundreds of notes in it and write down all the pitches. That doesn't happen. Okay? So you've got to not write down what the pitches are. You've got to learn to read them. Okay? So, when you're practicing your eighth notes, I realized that this thing of tapping your foot and thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while you've got the right fingerings, while you're blowing the tonguing the right times, all while keeping good posture, this is challenging for you. I understand. It's going to take practice, and that's okay. It's all going to take practice. Remember, that's part of the point. You practice half an hour a day. Practice, 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 practice. Just always immediately repeating, trying again, trying again, trying again. Eventually you get it within the week, and then you keep doing it correctly within the week for a number of extra days to get used to it. That is so important that you understand that you can't get it right away. Doesn't mean you're not going to get it. That's how you learn to play the instrument, is through the practice. You have to get through the process of doing it wrong and practice out the mistakes so they eventually play right. It's okay if it's not happening now. That doesn't mean you won't ever get it, okay? That's not how this works, okay? The fact, if you don't get it the first day, please understand, it's gonna still happen. It may take 3 weeks and you may get it tomorrow. Who knows? But patience with it, okay? Keep practicing anyway, trying to make it happen correctly, all right? So you have T, 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 T. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do, 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 do. Not bouncing your head like I did. Do, 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 do. All right, tongue and tap your foot. It's a lot of work, I know. But trust me, it'll be a whole lot of fun when you can read the music with these kind of rhythms, all right? So have fun, work it out, patience, patience, patience as you practice, practice, practice. And may the force be with you.